welcome to tonight's episode of Beyond Focus TV. I'm Lydia Patel, and as always, I have a very special guest for you, Pervis Taylor III, award-winning life coach. He'll be with us for the next 30 minutes, so stay with us. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. Beyond Focus TV allows you to discuss contemporary topics affecting the Caribbean people on both a national and local level. The show features informed guests who offer insight, debate, and evaluate various issues. Beyond Focus TV builds on the station's mission to provide useful information to the Caribbean people in New York and abroad. Beyond Focus TV, where our viewing audience can get educated, informed, and empowered. Welcome back. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. I'm Lydia Patel. And like I said, I have a award-winning life coach in the house tonight. So if you want to know all about life and how to get settled, and 2018 is coming up very, very fastly approaching. This is a guy you're going to definitely want to have Pervis kind of, tell us what it's all about and how we can make 2018 a really good one. So welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be here.
It's great to have you. We love having people in the community who are doing great things.
Awesome.
Independent, it's really one of those things where we kind of connect with the viewer and just let everyone know that, hey, you could actually take from where you are and accelerate into something else.
Absolutely.
And,
Absolutely.
We see quotes and everyone's living on Instagram and all these, which is great, because sometimes you need some daily motivations and all that stuff. So I think having a life coach could actually be something beneficial. But before we get into all of that,
yes,
let's take it back. Who is Pervis Taylor III?
Wow, that is such a broad question. Mm-hmm. But to answer your question, I am a country boy. I'm originally from Lancaster, Texas. And I'm the oldest of 3 children, and I'm just a man who's just very passionate about life. Mm-hmm. I originally moved up to New York 15 years ago to work in music, and I did that. I worked at Def Jam Recordings, and then from there I was signed to Wilhelmina Models as a model, and I did that for a while, and I was acting and doing all that stuff, and then I kind of crashed into my purpose of coaching and helping others to become great. So. Yeah, that's me.
That's you in a nutshell.
That's me in a nutshell.
Texas, you did the modeling, did the acting, you did the music. So kind of like the traditional what people come to New York for. You come to New York, but get the dream.
Yes.
How has that shaped where you decided to go into in terms of coaching?
You know what? Because I speak and because I have to be in front of audiences, whatnot, the acting and the modeling definitely served a purpose, and just having passion. Like I had such a passion for music. I still do. I just channeled that passion into the work that I do as a coach. So it definitely helped shape me. And I had a lot of experiences here in New York, a lot of ups and downs, you know what I mean? Things that I didn't think would happen. And I grew through them, and I learned from them, and I just took those lessons and I just applied it to my coaching. So I'm able to identify, struggle in my clients, and I'm able to pinpoint like exactly, what it is that you need to do to kind of navigate through that situation.
So what exactly, for those who may not be too familiar, what exactly does a life coach do?
You will probably get a million different answers if you had like different life coaches up here. But for me, my approach to coaching is I use the phrase "in spite of." So in spite of what happened to you, we can still do this. And so I help you to thrive in spite of what has happened to you in life. Because I believe, we've all been through certain things that have been debilitating. You have, I have. But you should still be thriving. And that's what I do as a coach. I help you to unpack certain things, but I help you to process and build while you heal.
That's interesting. And that's actually an interesting approach. So how did you decide to actually find that avenue for yourself?
It's funny. My father, before he passed away, he prophesied to me that I'd be doing the work that I'm doing today. And that was like over 12 years ago. And that's when I was working at Def Jam, and I wasn't doing anything in the field that I'm doing right now. So I believe that it was just, a word being fulfilled. And the common thread of my life has always been the person that people turn to for support, even from junior high. So I've always been that person to offer encouragement. So I just think it was just God, honestly.
And sometimes you have to go through things to find that purpose.
Absolutely.
And it's also you look back, even with certain things in my path here, you look back and like, I don't know why I'm here.
Yes.
But then it's not until after you're out of it, you be like, oh, I needed to do this So I met that
Exactly.
person
Exactly.
who helped me get here.
Exactly.
So it's all part of the process,
Absolutely.
going full circle with it. But sometimes you really have to go through that. So kind of tell us about the very first, I guess your first client, you could say. You remember actually coaching, and how has that
Yes.
coaching technique now evolved to where you are now?
You know what? It was so crazy because I was so petrified to have my first client because I'm like, oh my God, I'm dealing with
That's
somebody's
what I said.
life.
I knew you were going to remember that first
Yeah.
client.
I was like, I'm dealing with somebody's life. And I remember I rented out an acting studio, and I had her. She's an attorney, and she's actually doing very well, by the way. And I just went with my gut with a lot of things. I threw like all the teaching, all the trainings out the window, and I was like, you know what? Everybody's not the same. So you got to find out what makes this person tick, what makes them smile, what brings them joy, and it's different for everybody else. And so with her, I learned that people are not monolithic. So that experience, I learned a lot more than I believe that she got. Even though I know that she benefited from my coaching, I definitely learned a lot. Like I definitely learned how to understand that people are just wired differently. And people
Yes.
process differently. And so for her, she taught me to trust my spirit and trust my gut and to go with that. So I never had a set plan for her. I
Wow.
went in with a set plan, but then as soon as she would come in, it would just shift. And I was like, okay, we don't need to focus on that. We need to focus on this. So yes, like she's the one that taught me to be more spirit led in my coaching.
That's great. And when you think about it, it's you're doing it,
Yeah.
and you're kind of learning as you're going, and you're going through the
Yes.
motions. But you took out a great bit of experience just doing that first one.
Yeah, and it's crazy because she prepared me for, the bigger clients, the celebrities, the executives, the organizations that I work with. It was all from her, and I don't get a chance to thank her enough, but I thank her for taking a chance on me as a coach. She helped prepare me truly for this career.
So when someone decides to book a life coach, how does it really go? So you book a certain amount of sessions, or you go through until you reach a specific goal, or do you have a life coach for life?
Well, the thing is, for me, I want my clients to thrive. So I really don't want you to stay with me that long. So I do require, when they first email me to inquire about rates and things like that, I say I require a 4-session minimum. And usually within 6 to 8 sessions, they're kind of like off and running.
Really?
Doing very well. Yes. So I try not to keep my clients for too long.
Would you say there's benefit to doing it that way versus having someone retain you for?
Well, if you're working with high profile clients, that's a different thing, because working with celebrities, you don't necessarily get the time. So it can be spaced out. So if I require 4 sessions, say I'm working with a huge celebrity, I may see them in January and not see them again to July. So but you know what I mean? So in that scenario, that works. But ultimately, I don't want to keep people for too long. I want them to spread their wings and fly.
And that's important, because a lot of times then you kind of become that emotional crutch
Yes.
for them.
Absolutely.
A little bit they have to let that security blanket go.
Absolutely. And that's the reason why I have a low minimum requirement, because I don't want that to happen, because that easily can happen. And I don't want to have the savior complex. I don't want them to have the savior complex on me.
That is so true. Oh my goodness. A lot of times I've heard that so much about in regards to other people's therapists.
Yes.
And it does that emotional dependency.
Yeah, because it's very intimate. Think about it. You're being very vulnerable. You're trusting somebody who you don't know with, some secret things. And so, like, I understand how it happens.
Right.
And so to, like, mitigate that, I'm like, okay, so I don't want to keep you for too long. I want you to grow and spread, fly.
Fly. Well, hold
Yeah.
that thought. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. Stay with us. Welcome back. See, I love when people are happy and having a good time.
Yes.
Which leads me into my next question. How do you stay inspired?
I have great friends in my life who are my life coaches. I listen to music, which is my first inspiration ever. I love the arts. I love to exercise. I love God. I love to, go to church. I love to just be around people who speak to the best in me. And I always go back to the center. I always go back to, why do I do this work? It's not for fame. It's not for money. It's really to be a vessel to live in my purpose. And so I always align it and bring it back to my purpose. This is what I believe that God created me to be on earth.
And where do you see this going long term, especially with social media? There's so many different avenues to really kind of help promote and expand.
I believe the sky's the limit for me in terms of this. Like, I just graduated from Columbia. I got my master's in clinical psychology. I want to take on the world. I want to be on every continent except for Antarctica, of course. But
keep it warm.
Yeah, keep me warm. But I would love to just take what I do and just take it to the masses.
And what's really the best way for you when you do an initial? I'm sure you do like a consultation. So kind of walk us through the steps, a day in the life
of a life coach. So when people usually come to me, so I'll share this secret, and this is free. People usually come to me for their career, right? But it's never really about their career. It's about something else. And the reason why people come to me about their career, because that's the one thing that they feel they have the most control over, is their career, because they feel out of control in other areas of their lives. And so I'm like, you're not really here for this. You're really here for that. You're really here to unlock this thing right here. And once you deal with that, the career comes to you. The things that you're looking for, you attract that. And so that's, and so consultation is usually, Pervis, I really don't like my job.
Right.
Da, 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 da. I'm like, okay, well, we book a session. As soon as first session, I'm like, okay, so we're not going to talk about the job at all. We're going to talk about you. Yeah.
And how do they usually take that? I'm sure, they kind of know within themselves.
Yeah, they know within themselves. Like, usually they start laughing or they have, this smirk on their face. But, yeah. I'm a straight no chaser.
That's
with
good.
That, yeah.
But how do you actually approach somebody who maybe have layers built up of really, a really strong wall?
Well, I often do exercises, like random icebreakers, that are very telling. Like, for instance, I do this exercise where I tell people, I said, say we're at a red carpet premiere for this movie, and the movie is about your life. What is the name of that movie and why? But it has to be a summary of your life from the beginning up until now, the good, bad, and ugly.
Lord.
And that's very telling about how a person sees themselves and how they see their lives. So it's like certain things, certain tricks that you can get around to get people to open up a little bit, and you just find an entryway.
That's interesting. I'm kind of just thinking about it for myself, and it's like, would I be able to narrow it? That's asking yourself to narrow it down to one sentence that would encompass everything.
But you'd be surprised at the answers that people give. I've done this for corporations, and it's been the response has been crazy. Like the answers I get, it's like, wow. And some of these people are in leadership, and they have these crazy titles. I'm like, wow.
Yet they could be so far removed.
They're so far removed and so skewed. And you start to see, okay, so that's where the disconnect is. You know what I mean? And it's a subconscious thing because we don't know that that's telling the truth. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it's you find various ways. And I just go and listen. Like I said, it's very spirit driven for me. So I just know certain things that I can't really qualify to say. You know what I mean? I just know to go there.
Know it.
Yeah.
You'll just know. You get the vibe.
Yeah.
You just go on it.
And I just go on it.
And open up.
Yeah.
What about testimonials? What have been the most positive things after you've worked with someone and they've come back to you and they're like, Pervis, you changed my life?
Wow. I mean, it's funny. I get, not to brag, but I get them a lot. Mm-hmm. One client comes to mind. She came to me. She was an hourly employee. She came to me looking to be a store manager. And within and it took her 7 years. She was at a job for 7 years and she could not become store manager. And we worked together for I would say maybe 3-4 months. And within that 4-month time, she was offered a store manager position. But it wasn't even about the store manager position. She transformed.